I left for work today and I knew I was missing something. My bag just felt way too empty. And lo and behold, the microphone is gone, detached from my hat and at home. So that was what it was, and I figured that out just now as I start recording. So anyway, back to old quality sound, but hopefully whatever, and we make do with it. Because that's how it is. I typically have shorter Mondays than I do right now in terms of overall, like, clinical work, I guess. Not shorter in terms of hours necessarily, but generally I only do 5 appointments on a Monday now. Today I did 6, which was a bit more, obviously, than normal. And I was really aware of these 2 factors that make a big difference in doability for a fuller day. And if you do clinical work, 6 for a lot of people's standards is a pretty full day, for private practice at least, and it also depends on how you do your schedule. But a lot of people, a really full schedule is, well, a full schedule is like 12 to 20, and then more than that's like really full, and that depends on who you ask and the type of practice that they run. But for private practice, that's pretty standard depending on the person, but it just depends. Anyway, I had 6 today, and there's 2 factors that were kind of coming to my mind about simplicity in making a day good and enjoyable. And those 2 factors were relative nature of the, I always say relativity, but I'm not always meaning the theoretical formula and the theory of relativity, but relativity in my sense, and focus. So relativity in the sense of the most appointments I've ever done on a Monday is 13, and 6 is nothing compared to that. I used to have very full days during internship and then post-grad right away, just pretty intense focus on clinical work there for a while. And great, works great. But it was full, and those days were often very hard, and I was often very exhausted. And so coming down to 6 being a maximum on most Mondays, 5 is what I aim for. I'll hard cut off at 7 depending on the circumstances. But it's just nothing compared to over double that as a maximum, and around 10 to 12 on a normal for a while there, for about 2+ years, 2.5 years. And the other piece was, so that's the relativity piece. The other piece is focus. And I think people understand this, but it's not always as strongly noticed as people might want to admit, which is knowing that what you're going to do for the next 6 hours, because for me it was 6 hours straight, no gaps, is clinical work. Helps just stay in that mode and not trying to fit in other stuff in between or knock out tasks in between. It's just, you're doing clinical work. The time between sessions, you eat and or do notes, and that is your 6 hours. That's it. And that can be very helpful, just to have very committed time of this is all you're doing. And I constantly need reminders of how important it is to acknowledge that and work within that of, I'm going to work so much better and so much more focused and conserve more energy because I'm not chaotic in my mind by just knowing this is what I'm doing right now. This is the task. Nothing's more important right now than doing this efficiently and well. And it doesn't mean I don't suck at it sometimes or have harder moments, and stuff can come up that distracts you. But it means you do your best and you pay attention and you stay focused. So that's been a huge benefit for me, is just doing what I can to stay focused on those. So yeah, I think combining those 2 things is helpful, and the relativity thing has to happen through intensity. So because I did 2.5 years of 10 to 13, well, I was working 13 hours every single day, whether I was seeing clients or not. It was 13 to 14 hours every day, the days that I was in office. That was that. And so you had to, well, one has to have the comparison first. You have to experience the intensity to then say, oh, this isn't nearly as bad. Someone living in completely harsh climates, extremely cold winters, and then they're stuck inside a house at 50 degrees, they're probably not going to complain that's cold. Or someone that's used to over 100 degrees all the time outside year round and they don't have AC, they're probably not going to complain when your AC can't get you below 80. And it's relative to intense moments, and I think sometimes we can forget this intensity. Having it there is one thing, but it can be forgotten. So yeah, just take that as an encouragement for benefit of doing really challenging things can make the relative simplicity better, and the benefit of focusing. So just my 2 cents for today without my microphone. And other than that, happy Monday, and I'll see everyone next week. See ya.